Hello, guys. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Venus. I'm a psychologist and a behavioral therapist. Today, we're going to be answering 10 questions that have been asked about neurodiversity. I've been asked about special needs. I've been asked about developmental and neurodevelopmental conditions. Now, we're going to be reading these questions from my handbook. Like I said before, I journal a lot, and I got these questions from people sending me emails, from my Instagram, from my TikTok, and from my LinkedIn. So, the first question here is, can what a child eats cause autism? No. That's the simplest answer. No. What a child eats or does not eat cannot cause autism, because autism is a neurodevelopmental condition, and so you would see it as a child. So you tend to see whether or not a child will be autistic, is autistic rather, at about 2 years. Yes, you tend to start seeing signs. So it doesn't just happen at mid-adulthood. If a child is autistic or not, you see it from birth. So that's why it's a developmental condition. So the second question is, can too much sugar? No, now this one is like, when I saw this question, I was very surprised and shocked. But then it says, can too much sugar or hot food cause a child to have ADHD? Who is telling you guys these things? Who is saying these things? I don't know where you guys get this from, but no, too much sugar. So when it I mean, yes, we've heard that too much ice cream, too much sugar will give a child a lot of energy. They run around, this and that. True. Having too much energy does not mean you have ADHD. Let's put that up. So no, too much sugar or hot food doesn't cause a child to have ADHD. Yes. The third question is, so my Nigerian brothers and sisters, my African brothers and sisters, this is typical questions that I get all the time, and I'm so glad it came up. So the third question is autism a spiritual attack or a cause? It's neither a spiritual attack or a cause. It's neither. So, like I said before, it's a neurodevelopmental condition, right? So it's not spiritual, it's not a cause either. The fourth one is a child who can't sit still or focus in school just stubborn, or could it be ADHD? Now, this question is very tricky because being stubborn doesn't mean you have ADHD, right? And not being able to sit down doesn't mean you have ADHD, right? So that's why you have to go for proper assessment and diagnosis before you can even confirm any condition to begin with. So I would say a child who can't sit down, are they stubborn? Also, I would say you need to go for a diagnosis and an assessment before you can conclude on whether or not the child has ADHD or not. Yeah. But if you notice that your child can't focus at school, runs around a lot, and it's of a concern to you, you can check for a psychologist, a behavioral therapist, and ask for an assessment for your child, just to be sure. Early intervention is very important, so we don't want to miss out on that. So the fifth question, now this one is, I got this question on a job, so I went for therapy, and while on the job, I got this question. Does a child who reverse letters as mirror writing or struggles to read have dyslexia, or are they just slow? So, like I said again, before you want to draw a conclusion, you have to look for a diagnosis, go for assessment. But one of the clear signs of dyslexia is mirror writing, and so when you want to write letter B, you know that it has a big stomach, right? Or you tend to write B facing this way. So things like that. When you want to write letter C, it has to be like this, but then you're writing like this. So those are the clear signs of dyslexia to begin with. Yeah. But like I said, you have to go for proper assessment and diagnosis. So if you see a child that writes in a mirror form, you should take that child for an assessment. The child might have dyslexia. Those are the clear signs. Those are one of the signs of dyslexia. Okay, so the sixth question is, do vaccines cause autism? I don't know why, but when we talk about neurodiversity, when we talk about inclusion, when we talk about special needs, a lot of the times we only focus on autism. And I think that's a problem for me because it's not just about autism. We have so much under that umbrella. Yeah. And likewise, still, we also notice that there's a lot of misconceptions surrounding autism. It's like so much misconception surrounding autism. So vaccines do not cause autism. They don't. They don't cause autism. So you might take a vaccine and you might react to it, but it might mimic autism, but it is not. Like I said before, for you, so autism is a neurodevelopmental condition, like I said before. So you must have seen it as a child. It must have been there from childhood, right? And so vaccines cannot cause autism. It cannot. So the seventh question is, can a child who doesn't talk, yet at 3 or 4 years old still learn to speak? So when you say a child doesn't talk, what do you mean? Because you can, how do I put it? So you can have words. A child might not have words like the way I speak to you right now in clear words. A child might have sounds like sort of, and you say the child can't talk. The child can talk, right? The child doesn't just have words, so you need to teach the child words. So, but when the child says nothing comes out of the child's mouth, or the child is just mute, then you can say, okay, this child is not vocal, right? Because that's like one misunderstanding that we have. You can't say a child can't talk if the child makes sounds, right? So yes, a child who makes sounds, who doesn't have clear words, if that's the question, a child who doesn't have clear words, like I'm speaking to you right now, can learn to have clear words. A child who has sounds can learn to have clear words. Yes, it's possible, if that's the question you are asking. And also, we have to look at their milestones too. Yeah, so a child at 3 or 4 years should be able to produce some sort of words like mommy or daddy, or some sort of words at 3 to 4 years old. So we'll look at the 8 questions. Did my parenting or discipline cause my child autism? No, you're a great parent. You're a great parent. You did not cause your child to have autism. The ninth question now. This ninth question, I was talking to my mentor about it the other day after work because I got this question a lot and I had to do some research about it so that when I'm saying something about it, I'm not just talking out of the way I feel. I'm also talking from facts, right? So we don't want to just say things because we feel them. And this question came up during my research. And this question is, does substance induce autism? It doesn't. Substances does not induce autism. Autism is a neurodevelopmental, I need you to pick it up, a neurodevelopmental condition. So substances does not induce it. It could mimic autism in a way, and you can see cognitive and behavioral impairments, but it's not autism. So that's why it's good to go for proper diagnosis and assessment so that you would not call A B and B A. Okay, you need to be able to diagnose and assess properly so that you would not give wrong diagnosis. The worst thing is treating the worst kind of thing you can experience here in the health industry, the mental health industry, is treating one problem when it's actually another. So it's very bad. So you need to go for proper diagnosis so that you can actually, understand these things and get the proper diagnosis and treat it better. So for the last question, should I hide my child's condition from family to avoid shame? Sweetheart, no. Sweetheart, I think that that's even like doing the child more harm. You want your child to be very confident in him or herself. It's not a disease, it's not a death sentence, right? So you want your child to be as confident as possible. So when you hide your child, the child begins to feel like they are different. And yes, they are, but not in a bad way. So the child begins to feel like they are different in a bad way. And overall, their confidence level, their self-esteem might, go down. The best thing for you to do rather is to seek for early intervention for your child once you notice that your child may be presenting with some sort of um, behavioral issues or this type of developmental conditions like dyslexia, ADHD, autism, and the rest of them. The best thing for you to do is to reach out to a psychologist, reach out to a behavioral therapist, honestly, get right the proper intervention, start your treatment immediately. We're getting towards a time and age whereby these things are not something that we should be ashamed of anymore. Mental health is our priority. It's something that should be talked about freely without feeling some sort of shame. But that's not to say that we are neglecting the fact that people still feel shame for these things. Part of the reasons is because most times mothers are blamed for the way they carried the child, which scientifically it has not been proven that that is even the cause of autism. But if you notice a child is any has any presenting developmental or neurodevelopmental conditions, proudly seek for help. That makes you a good mother. That makes you a good father. That makes you a good caregiver. Proudly seek for help. So, if you have any more questions about any neurodevelopmental conditions like autism, ADHD, dyslexia, cerebral palsy, the rest of them, please feel free to leave your question in the comment section below. You can send me an email. My email is also in my bio. You can send me an email directly if you want it to be very personal. If you have personal questions or you want that privacy, you can send me an email and I'll respond to you. You can also check me out on my Instagram account, which is also in my bio. And I can't wait to hear from all of you. Bye for now.